So this newest generation of video games, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, during this period there's been a lot of trial and error. Now, a lot of those games are misses, a lot of those games are hits, and a lot of those games do something that before seemed wholly impossible, but in order to accomplish that, they have to make certain sacrifices. A game that comes to mind is The Crew, which didn't have the greatest car customization aspects, but the world and the scope of it truly did make the experience worth it, in my opinion. Well, the next game that is going to be attempting things of that nature, it's called The Division. Now, the beta is coming out at the end of this month, and The Division is supposedly going to be launching in May. But recently they came out with a statement where they said that The Division would be contained to Lower Manhattan at the beginning of the game, when the game first launches. And a lot of people have already invited the comparison to Destiny in terms of, well, it is a MMO-themed RPG game using different or elements that haven't often been used in those sorts of games. And in a lot of ways that is correct. The Division is very much a loot drop game in which players go around fighting enemies, collecting loot. That loot is ranked based on its value, and then you use that loot to attempt to continue finding other stuff and progressing your character along these lines. But let's talk for a second about what The Division is actually attempting to accomplish. Now, at launch, it's only going to be Lower Manhattan. But just so we're clear, and I live in New Jersey, so I should know because I go to New York all the time, it is a recreation of New York, a street-by-street recreation of New York. The end product of the game is to fully remake New York City in a video game, something that has never been done before. And if you cite Grand Theft Auto 4 on me, I will fucking kick your ass, because Grand Theft Auto is clearly a summed down product of New York City. In fact, one of the islands in Grand Theft Auto 4 isn't even New York City. They even tell you in the game it's based off of New Jersey. But this game is attempting to take all 5 boroughs. And as part of this story that they have come up for the game, transportation between boroughs and islands is wholly impossible at the beginning of the game. Now, how that's going to open up so they can allow you to travel between cities, they haven't explained yet, but this is a scope that no real game developers have attempted before, to fully recreate a real existing city in accuracy. Grand Theft Auto 5 would have been a lot bigger if it was a fully redone version of Los Angeles. A lot bigger. Sleeping Dogs would have been shit tons bigger if it was a full recreation. They don't do this. And as such, they can't release the entire game at once, because not only is the game about the recreation of New York, it's about allowing players freedom and enjoyment. And it's very hard to do that if you have a gigantic map that you're spreading your time around, trying to figure out, okay, well, let's do this for players and let's do that for players. So they're taking it small, step by step, trying to build it up over time. And so far, a lot of people have gotten pissed off. And one of the major reasons why people have gotten pissed off is, it's really funny, because all the trailers for the game have used Brooklyn as the location for the game. Now, first and foremost, I want to say this, because this is kind of my reason for not giving a shit about that. If you genuinely think that every game you have ever played that you think is a fucking masterpiece, was 100% the original trailers you fucking played for that game, you're a fucking retard. Most trailers for games come at about 1 to 2 years worth of development time. And if you're working on a game and you're putting time and effort into a game, 1 to 2 years development time is not a lot of time or effort put into this game. Things change all the time. Functionality changes all the time. By the finished product, they might have a completely different idea for how they want to accomplish what they're attempting to accomplish. Now, whether they chose to change location that you would be getting at the beginning of the game, or choose that location that you'd be getting at the beginning of the game because they felt that it was better for the storytelling, or perhaps even they felt that Lower Manhattan was a much more iconic area of New York City that players that aren't from this area can identify with better than Brooklyn, which is fucking true, because Brooklyn is famous mainly by the people who live in fucking New York City. The point is, I don't know why they changed that location, but it's not like that's fucking changing the product. That's a very minor change, if we're being completely fucking honest about what they changed. I mean, how do I put this? I find it fucking funny that that is why people are upset, not by the scope of the game. Now, a lot of people have pointed out to me the scope of the game, that, oh, well, you're getting such a small area at the beginning, they're breaking up and selling you an incomplete game. No, they're fucking not. Like, that is some entitlement generation bullshit. I'm sorry. I get it. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is a fantastic game that's fully completed when it came out. Also, when you play a game that you claim isn't complete at launch, most of those are larger than that game. So go fuck yourselves. This whole up your own ass circle jerk. Now, I'm not saying that the game is going to be fantastic at launch. In fact, I'm prepared for it to suck at launch. I've made my peace with that. But it's not going to suck at launch because it's a shitty game. It's going to suck at launch because the same thing happened to Destiny. The same thing happened to The Crew. I hear a lot of people say it's much better now. The same thing happened to so many games attempting exactly what this is attempting. Star Wars The Old Republic being one of them. Games like this always suck at the beginning because those companies don't know what the fuck they're doing. And then when they finally figure it out, which almost every one of them finally does figure it out or goes defunct, then the game starts to be really, really good. So, yeah. It's probably going to suck at launch. But not because of the fact that they're only doing Brooklyn. Enjoy the game for what it is. And hopefully, when it's all said and done, what it is will be something that shows the possibility of what a game can do, even if it doesn't necessarily always fulfill that potential.